Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
And there we go, we should be on air. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AOR Hyper Energy Season 4 Formula 2 Sprint League here on the PC. We're here at the Temple of Speed for the 10th round and the Italian Grand Prix, and the drivers are already running out on track here for qualifying, so let's just jump straight down and on board with, who do we have? We have Dominic here, or Lasher, that's coming up to the first of the Les modes. Of course, it is a 5.7 kilometer track with 11 corners, and these two Les mode corners are one of the most treacherous corners, even in the dry, let alone in the wet. And look at this, it is just chugging it down as the drivers are slowly making their way round for a qualifying time. Now coming down to the ever-challenging Ascari complex, where you first go left, then quickly to the right before diving it left again. You can see there Lasher just jumping a bit on top of the curb in the right-hander before a quick dash down to the long parabolica before coming on to the good old start-finish straight and then into the first couple of corners and the Curvo Grande, but we won't see that before the 5 red lights. And up to the line, we'll see who will take pole position. Lasher currently in third, but across the line goes Tudor, then Dominic, and Lasher in third place. So Tudor took pole position. Further down, we have Steph Rell, Neil Bywater, Mo, and down in 8th, it looks like Heiko is slowly coming across the line. Bylight takes 9th, it looks, and one of the Darius takes 10th, and a couple of others DNF'd and got disqualified. Of course, very, very hard to qualify in these conditions.
Indeed, yeah. 3 people invalidating their lap times, 3 more people spinning over the course of their lap in the forms of Heiko, Biolite, and Darius the New, rather than Darius the Old, who is in 11th in the ART, who was disqualified for invalidating the lap. Tudor, by the way, over a second clear at the front from his teammate. It's a Prema front row as well here in Monza, the home Grand Prix for the Prema outfit. And that's going to be feeling pretty good for those two. If this was the real world, it would be 2 Ferrari junior drivers as well on the front row. So that would be very, very nice. But it is Tudor from Dominic in this universe with Lasher 3rd, and then Shintare 4th, Steph Farrell 5th, Neil Bywater up in 6th, good qualifying for him, Mo 7th, and Heiko 8th.
Yeah, as we're now coming into the race, and of course, we don't know how the weather conditions are going to be, but we will find out in just a second. Because very, very wet qualifying, and it's looking like it'll be a very, very dry race. The more known Italian conditions, nice and dry with the sun shining from above, and I'm sure that we're seeing temperatures around the mid-20 degrees Celsius, which is of course always nice, as this race is of course normally run in the middle of summer. But
indeed, yeah, usually one of the hotter venues for sure, and not a cloud in the sky to completely counteract what we saw in qualifying, so that's fun.
Yes, certainly. Now, the counter slowly ticking down after that very exciting one-shot qualifying, and then we'll see how the drivers are lining up in terms of their tyre. Of course, everyone now has a free choice of tyre now that it was raining and no one used a dry set in qualifying. So if we just toggle that over, we see that most of the field is starting on the soft tyre, except for Steph Farrell, Neil Bywater in 5th and 6th, and finally Sebster in 13th and last place, starting on the medium tyres.
Yeah, interesting to see so many people just opting to go for the standard strategy. It does tend to be the case in Formula 2 races that the contra strategy is slightly stronger, but the payoff of starting further up the grid tends to lead to those drivers winning out in the end. So I'm surprised to see so many of them not taking the option to go for those mediums when they had it available to them. So we'll see whether it's going to pay off for the likes of Tudor, Dominic, Lasher, and Shintari starting in the top 4 there. And Steph Farrell, Neil Bywater on those mediums. Steph has been pretty solid in the most recent rounds, climbing up to 9th place in the championship, despite only having joined 4 rounds ago. Points in all of the last... I think, in fact, every race that Steph has taken part in, there's been points for the driver, for the Charouz driver. So, yeah, we could well see a good performance today from Steph on those medium tyres.
Yes, indeed. He has scored points in every single race or every single weekend he has attended. Scored some nice points, up in 9th place currently. He is 11 points behind Darius in 8th. So, still a couple of points that he can collect and some places to climb, and I'm sure that he'll be hoping to take that opportunity here tonight.
And we should mention that the winner of our last 3 feature races on the bounce, Flash, is not present here today. So there's a big opportunity for Tudor to take his first feature race win in a while. He's won the last 4 sprint races in a row. That hasn't won a feature race for a while. So the Romanian driver in the Prema would definitely like to take that one. Dominic will be wanting to challenge him all the way as well. It's be interesting to see what Sebster can do from the back. Tends to be one of the front runners, tends to be challenging for a podium more often than not. So we'll see what the HWA driver will be able to do as the lights now are coming on here in Monza. All Prema front row. We wait for the drivers as the lights go still on for them, and now we are underway at the Temple of Speed. It looks like a good start for Lasher from 3rd there. Slightly bad in first gear, but into 2nd. He's got a good launch, and now he's already challenging Dominic for P2. They might even think about going 3 wide into turn 1, but no, that's going to be Tudor holding on to that one for now. Dominic manages to hold on to 2nd as well, so the red cars keep it out there in front. Lasher still 3rd, Shintari still 4th. Mo has had a good start, dispatching both of the medium runners up into 5th. He's gone. Steph Farrell has had a poor getaway off the line down into 8th.
Yeah, Steph not really getting the throttle down. Maybe he didn't have the best temperatures in those medium tyres, and then having those soft runners right around him. And there right in front, that's Heiko going for the move on Neil Bywater just ahead, nipping it down the inside of, I believe that was Lesmo 1 they came up to now through Lesmo 2. There's some yellow flags behind. I believe that's Dexter. That's gone round, maybe along with Sebster. They seems to have fallen a bit down the grid there, so there might have been some contact back there. But further up, it looks like Shintaro will be hoping to go for the move on Mo. Oh no, he's gone round, almost into the wall there on the exit of Ascari there. Just hit the curb on the outside, got a bit too eager, and fantastic save there not to go into the wall. And he keeps going, but falls all the way down to 11th after almost having a shot at an overtake on Mo there. Oh, into the wall as well there. Through parabolic, I believe that must be a damaged front wing there from Shintaro. All the way down in 13th now. Decides not to go into the pits. However, Sebster and Dexter does choose to do so. So they quite possibly have been involved in that contact further down the grid.
Steph Farrell has managed to get past Neil Bywater further up, once again resuming their position as the lead of the medium runners out here. Sebster, who was one of the 3 medium runners, has of course had to come into the pits. for a set of softs. So that's going to really scupper the race for the German in what is now an HWA, which was an Arden before we got these F2 2020 cars, but now it is an HWA, though it looks almost identical. Out at the front, we got the two Premers leading comfortably. Lasher falling quite a way back behind, but Mo challenging, looking a lot faster right now in the Trident. The Roy Nissany Trident looking to try and get past the dams of Lasher up ahead. Can't quite outdrag him up towards Ascari, though, so we're just going to settle back behind for the Variante Ascari before maybe thinking about a move into Parabolica or into turn 1.
Yeah, of course, turn 1, very much the main overtaking spot here at the circuit. You can come from behind with so much speed, as well with the DRS being opened on the next lap. Just slipstream, DRS, maybe a little bit of rich mix, then just you can nip it down the inside of turn number 1, maybe even do a switchback. And sometimes you can even go for it with only the slipstream here as Mo on 3rd place for the podium. Down the inside he goes at the beginning of lap number 3. Will he be able to get the position? They go side by side into the corner. He touches the curb on the apex there, gets spun round a bit, but able to get it in the right direction quickly again. Has to slot in behind once again, but now into not Retterview. That is not the right track, but now into the chicane. Down the inside he goes. That'll be around the outside for the second part. It looks like he's gotten the position there. And now Lasher challenging, or Heiko challenging Lasher right behind. Heiko not able to get the position. Lasher goes down to 4th. And Mo takes 3rd.
Indeed, great battling up there. Mo now in clean air, but with 6 seconds lost. Up to Dominic up ahead and full 7 up to Tudor. It's a bit of a mountain to climb to try and claim anything other than the bottom step of the podium. Same story for Sebster, who's back into the pits yet again. So really not going the way of the HWA team right here, with Sebster being the sole entry for that outfit in this race. Unfortunately for us, both of the Dariuses are very close together on fight. They've been actually nose to tail pretty much the last few laps, with Darius the old, Darius JRX trying to get past Darius the new, and not been able to do it, but does look to have a bit more pace in the second, or not, sorry, it's not the second of the two ARTs, I'm so used to saying that, but Flash isn't here today, so he's currently the lead ART.
Yes, very much so. This is very much the scenario we feared, with the two Darius possibly going into battle days. Or Darius having a look down the inside. Darius, there's been some incident further up. Lasher getting a bit wayward into turn number 1 there, almost getting overtaken by his teammate now, Neil Bywater. He's fallen down to 6th place, and actually there, Neil Bywater does go for the move down the inside off Curvo Grande. He'll be on the outside for the first part of Della Roggia there. There's a bit of tyre punting there, and Lasher stays ahead. And right behind now, Darius tries for a move on Neil Bywater, but just didn't have the speed to go for it just yet. What about into Lesmo 2? Is he able to go for it? Not quite. Maybe down towards Ascari, or on the start-finish straight, we'll be able to see a move from one of these drivers.
Tell you what, out of the front as well, Dominic is very, very close to Tudor right now. He just ran wide on the exit of Ascari, had to get out of it to avoid a corner-cutting warning there, I think. Mo and Heiko still losing time. Lash was actually frightened off the track in turn 1 by Heiko, thinking about a move up the inside. Now Heiko thinking about yet another one of those, as looking to line up Mo here for 3rd. They're going to go into the Parabolica here, and Mo is still just about ahead, but it's still going to be battling all the way down towards turn 1 as well. Further behind, looks like Lasher has spun round, and he's spun round aggressively there in Parabolica. I don't know if he got hit by one of the other cars after he spun or what, but now here come the Dariuses, and there goes Heiko trying to get past Mo up the inside in the Carlin there into turn 1, the outside of turn 2. Easily done in the end for Heiko. The veteran F2 Sprint League driver in the Carlin moves himself up into 3rd. Meanwhile, the two Dariuses have remained as they were, with Darius the new remaining ahead of Darius the old, but only for now, as they go through Curva Grande and looking down towards Della Roggia, where the braking zone is pretty significant. But once again, it is the newer Darius who holds on.
Very much these two able to fight it out. Now the old Darius was thinking about a move down the inside of Lesmo 1, but just pulled out of it in time, not wanting to be squeezed to the inside. Of course, those curbs can be very treacherous if you just get the throttle down a bit too early, you can very easily be spun around, especially if you're forced onto it in a battle. But the new Darius holding on in 7th place now. The old Darius looking to get reverse grid pole position, at least for now, before most of the drivers have come in for their pit stops.
I wonder if you told Dominic last season of F2 Sprint League that he'd be 8 seconds ahead of Heiko when he came into the pits in a race at Monza, based on pretty much just pure pace alone. I think he'd have told you that you were absolutely insane. Heiko was so good that season, and Dominic was definitely looking towards the bottom end of the points for the majority of races. Now, we have seen several drivers coming into the pits, and 2 of the 3 have just picked up 5-second time penalties for speeding in the pit lane. That is Heiko and the newer Darius. So those 2, at least we're going to get a reprieve from them battling out on track. But it looks like the soft tyres, no one's fancying to go too long on those, that much is for sure. Further up the order, Steph Farrell really imprinting that notion by getting past Mo. Those medium tyres now working better than the softs as the Charoux passes the very similarly liveried Trident.
You're very much on the exit of turn number 2 there. He just, Mo was just in front and got a bit too eager on the throttle and almost spun round. He was at least sideways a good bit. And Steph Farrell just slowly on the throttle, able to get past, almost like an overtake on the motorway. No real hassle for him there. So up into 2nd place he goes for now, before those drivers come in for their mandatory pit stop here in the feature race. Further down, a couple of drivers coming out from their pit stop. So now I believe it's only the top 5, yes it is, that is needing to do a pit stop, and I would guess that if not all of them, most of them will come in on this lap. At least Tudor does. What about Steph and Mo coming through the final corner now? Of course, Steph on the medium tyres does carry on. Mo goes into the pits, and Neil Bywater and Darius comes into the pits, but Steph Farrell and Neil Bywater continues on their medium tyres.
So now we're going to have the whole field on those yellow-walled medium tyres. We're not going to see the softs until the very end of the race, when Steph and Neil are going to go back onto that set of tyres. And I think Sebster will have to do so at some point as well, because he only ran those for 1 lap in this race. It was the 2nd lap of the race, and then came straight back in for another set of mediums. Here comes Dominic, actually, getting close to Tudor on the exit of the pits, but the undercut wasn't enough. It does take a while to warm up your tyres in these F2 cars, and as a result, Dominic wasn't able to get the move done on Tudor into turn 1 when Tudor was coming out of the pits. So bad news there for Dominic in that battle. He's also got the 3-second time penalty to his name. So if he wants to beat Tudor in this race, he has to either hope that Tudor makes a mistake, or he has to get past him pretty quick and then start building that 3-second gap to his teammate behind. But right now, he will have his tyres warm while Tudor's are not. So he does have an opportunity over the next half a lap or so, but will he be able to take it? Tudor maybe not taking Lesmo too perfectly there. That might give an opportunity to Dominic behind on the way up to Ascari. He's getting closer, but I don't think he's going to be close enough for a move here, and indeed, he just has to sit behind his teammate, frustrated in the second of the 2 Premers.
Yeah, just flicking over to have a look at the penalties now just for a second. Most of the drivers, most of the drivers do have penalties. A couple of them with 5-second penalties. That's Heiko, Mo, Darius, and Darius. Then we have Lasher with 6 seconds, Dexter with 3, and Dominic with 4.
Yeah, sorry about that. There's
Darius,
the new Darius just spun round. Was actually, the 2 Dariuses were together on track once again. Old Darius had actually managed to leapfrog new Darius in the pit stops. And new Darius was looking to challenge him through Ascari, but just got a bit too close under the rear wing and just lost his traction there, I think it was, and just spun out on the exit of Ascari. So bad news for one of the relative newcomers in this league. Further up, though, for the net race lead, here comes Dominic, taking the inside line through Curva Grande. That will give him the outside into Della Roja, and Tudor is later on the brakes. Is he going to go too deep? No. Masterful defense there from the Romanian, who holds on to 3rd position for now.
Yeah, Tudor really showing how it should be done when you defend. Took that outside line very nicely. That would turn to the inside and then he was just able to keep it there and keep third position for now. You can see there's a 5/10 gap down to Dominic. That's a gap that he'll have to catch up on this upcoming straight and down to Parabolica before he can attempt for a move. So Tudor doing very well, just giving him that small bit of breathing space just for now, although Dominic is still within that second, and that Tudor will have to watch out behind him that Dominic doesn't go for any big dive bombs into any corner, but I don't think that's very likely. Looks like further back, Biolite is in a spot of bother. He's gone round in De La Roja. Might have been some contact, not quite sure. But he's down into 12th place now. Outside the points, not where he would have wanted to be at this time.
Only a couple of battles out there on track right now. One is the two race leaders, or effective race leaders, in the form of Tudor and Dominic in those two Premas. The other is Dexter and Lasher. Dams versus UNI Virtuosi. Dexter having to defend right now from the man who started in third place in this race on the grid. Let's not forget that Lasher has raw speed around here, at least in the wet, and he's trying to prove that he has it in the dry as well. It has not been a fortunate race for the Dams driver thus far, but he does make light work of Dexter through Parabolica, taking a very tight line through there indeed. It has compromised him a little bit on the exit though, so there's an opportunity for Dexter to try and battle back in the Calamilot red Uni Virtuosi car, but he's not close enough in the braking zone, and Lasher will hold on.
Yeah, that DRS to Lasher really helped him out down that straight. Just being able to get in front just after the detection point, meaning that he was able to stay ahead and still get the DRS. Masterful overtaking there from Lasher. Further up ahead, we see that Dominic now is within those 5/10. Just falling outside again when he gets around Parabolica. It is very much 5/10 you need to be able to go for a move into turn one if you want to do it in any comfortable way and not completely dive it down the inside. As the two drivers there at the front, the two net race leaders, overtake Steph Farrell as he comes in to the pits for his one and only pit stop. The same does Heiko. And Steph Farrell falls down and slots into 5th place, it looks like, coming in to turn number one. Now it's only Neil Bywater at the front that we need to get into the pits, and then everyone will be able to go to the end of the race, and we'll have a clean battle out on track.
Barring any major incidents or mistakes for Steph Farrell, they're looking at their first podium of the season here in the AOR F2 Sprint Leagues, because Heiko is only 2.5 seconds up the road. The Carlin driver has penalties. The Carlin driver is on older, harder tyres. So Steph Farrell should be charging towards the end of this race. Unfortunately, 12 seconds, maybe even 13 seconds up to Dominic up ahead means that I don't think we're going to see Steph challenging the front two unless they come to blows. But nevertheless, third place would be very good news in this feature race indeed for Steph Farrell, who's still getting those soft tyres warmed up right now. But once they've been able to do that, should be able to make a light work of Heiko in the coming laps. Neil Bywater also coming into the pit, so expect him to be quite quick towards the end as well on those Redwood soft tyres. Dominic closer to Tudor through Parabolica this time around, and down the main straight we go with the DRS wide open. You can see the red wing on Dominic's car is open, the blue wing on Tudor's is not. But it's still not quite enough for the German. This might be, though, as Tudor makes a mistake through turn one. He has to counter-steer out of a spin, and now here comes Dominic around the outside of the exit of two. He has the inside line, the path of least resistance for three, Curva Grande, before we get down into the De La Roja. So now, Tudor going to dip back in for a little bit more slipstream before taking the inside line for De La Roja. He was later on the brakes last time. He's not this time, and Dominic makes the move stick on the exit of the Variante della Roja. Into Lesmo 1, he still holds on.
Yeah, now coming into Lesmo 2, Tudor's right behind, just 1.5 tenths of a second, at least on the entry to Lesmo 2 now. Opens the DRS. Tudor does right behind Dominic. Will he go for the move into Ascari there? He closes the DRS as he pulls to the inside. It looks like he wants to stay back and go for the move on the start-finish straight. That is quite the wise thing to do. You don't want to be battling through Ascari as it's quite tight as you go for that direction change, and one small mistake from any of the drivers could see you go completely into the gravel track or even get thrown into the wall and out of the race. So Tudor now staying close through Parabolica. He'll have the DRS as he's right behind Dominic. Now as they come on to the start finish straight, he's tucked in that slipstream and he opens the DRS there just after the start finish line. Or does he? No, it looks like he keeps the DRS closed as they're on lap number 12 out of 15. I think what Tudor's trying to do is to overtake Dominic on the final lap of the race so that Dominic isn't able to fight back. But that's a dangerous tactic because now there's 0.5 of a second up to Dominic after turn number 1 and through Parabolica. Tudor is falling a bit behind and that might lose him the race lead if he isn't careful, but he's still holding on now within those 0.5 once again. So Tudor now doing well to hold on.
Tudor backing himself in that particular one. Looks like Steph's actually made a mistake in getting passed by Mo right now, despite the tyre differential, and then picking up a 3-second time penalty on the entry to De La Roja as well. So that is bad news for Steph Farrell in the Charouz car. Definitely does not want to be losing time battling with Mo. Should be faster right now on those soft tyres, but just can't seem to light them up properly. Can't seem to make them work right now. And Mo might even be able to drive away from Steph here and maybe start to catch Heiko even more. But every lap that Steph is stuck battling with Mo, it just gets better and better for Heiko, who should be pretty much all but nailed on for a podium right now. Although, of course, he does have 5 seconds of penalties, while Steph only has 3. So if Steph can get back within 2 seconds of Heiko, then we will see the maiden podium of the year for Steph. Out at the front once again, Tudor is in a position and he has his DRS open this time around. So now he wants to make the move on Dominic. He thinks about it up the inside of turn 1, but no, not enough straight there for Tudor this time around. Couldn't get alongside in time, and the German driver holds on to first. Further back, Steph is making amends for the mistake on the previous lap and passing Mo down the main straight.
Very well moved there from Steph. Quite the easy move as well down that straight with the DRS wide open. You can just pass by and the defending driver can't really do anything before the braking zone comes. Now at the front, 13 out of 15 laps gone by. It is very close between these two drivers, and I think Tudor has now put the turbo on us there. Dominic makes a mistake. He goes wide on the exit of Lesmo 2. There, Tudor goes for the move. He went down the inside on the exit. He has the DRS wide open and down to Ascari. He takes the lead. But there, Dominic trying to fight back. He was looking to go down the inside, and he did so, taking the lead back there. Tudor falling to second place now. They are so close on track. And look at this. Tudor, he's looking to go down the inside again. But no. He stays behind into Parabolica.
This is all about timing for Tudor right now. He lifted off on the straight before the end of the straight, before the braking zone even begun for Ascari. He wanted Dominic to be ahead of him. I don't know if this is why, but it looks like he is going to take the position this time around unless he lifts off once again. But he will have it into turn 1 if he wants it. He's clear. He's got the margin. He can take the racing line, but he locked up the rears and he spun round. Tudor has gone round. So it looked like it was all under control for the Romanian, but it was not the case, as he just stabbed too hard on the brakes, locked the rears, and went round in turn 1. And now he has gift-wrapped this race for Dominic, who had 3 seconds of time penalties, let's not forget. So Tudor would have almost certainly won the race regardless, but now he needs to get those 0.3 of a second to Dominic back.
He certainly does. Now it's just 1.5 laps to go, and Tudor, he has to go on and do some fast laps here to get that time back within those 3 seconds. He doesn't want to make any mistakes himself because that could give him a time penalty and then the opportunity is completely gone. But he still wants to drive fast or else he won't get the win. Here now it's 0.3 of a second now coming into Ascari, falling back a bit there on the exit, but still he's catching now. He's almost within those elusive 3 seconds. It's going to be ever so close as they come on to the final lap just about now through Parabolica. There you saw Tudor, he was so close to dipping in within those 3 seconds, and I'm looking forward to this final lap to just stay on board with Tudor.
Be pushing so hard to try and get within the margin there. He's right on the edge of it, teetering on the edge of winning this race right now. Dominic will be pushing his heart out in the lead of the two Premers, and it's just so disheartening when you see the gap coming down. It was 3.3, it's within 2.9 now. So Dominic needs to dig deep and look to just ignore the delta and just drive as best he can. If he pays too much attention to the delta, it's going to get in his own head about it, and he can't afford to let that happen. Tudor makes a mistake into De La Roja in the entry. He had to steer out of it, turned in too early, and as a result, he might have just gifted this one to Dominic now. It's back up to 3.4. Has Tudor thrown it all away here?
He might have. You don't want to make that mistake, and it's only 2 straights and a couple of corners left. I don't think he can catch 4.5 tenths, almost 5 tenths of a second in that small amount of time without a mistake from Dominic. As Dexter further back has been disqualified. Interesting scenes here on the final lap, but let's just look at this. It's going to be close. Tudor, he caught 2 tenths of a second in Ascari there. It's going to be very, very close now coming through Parabolica. We're going to see Dominic cross the line in just a moment as he's passing the pit entry. Tudor will be doing the same now. Dominic crosses the line, and here comes Tudor. He doesn't take it. He loses with about 3 tenths of a second. It was so close, but Dominic was able to pull it through in the end. Further back, or just behind, Steph Farrell does take the final podium position in the feature race and gets the first podium position of his this season.
Yeah, great effort from Steph. Great effort from Dominic as well to take the win. Incredible stuff here from the Prema. And Tudor will be so frustrated by that. The opportunity was there, gift wrapped for him today. He's the heir apparent to Flash. He's second in the championship. He's been winning these sprint races in the last 4 race weekends. Surely, without Flash in the picture, this was Tudor's opportunity to win the race. And yet, it's his own teammate in the form of Dominic who has taken it away from him here in Monza. And now it's just up to Tudor to try and continue the trend of winning these sprint races. That's the best he can salvage. Of course, P2, not a bad finish in the grand scheme of things. There's 11 other drivers in the field that definitely would have taken that compared to the positions they ended up in. But nevertheless, he is going to be disappointed with that one. Dominic, deserving of the win here today, though.
Yeah, you certainly must say that. He drove a great race and was just able to capitalise off the mistakes of Tudor. Maybe a small bit of arrogance dropped in towards the end of the race with Tudor, knowing that there was a penalty and knowing that he could just sit behind and use some DRS. But then those small mistakes crept in and Tudor ultimately lost out on that.
Yeah, really, really well done, though, to Dominic in the Mick Schumacher car, of course. The Prema taking the 1-2 in Italy, their home race as well. So that's great news for that particular outfit. Neither of the drivers Italian, though. We got the German of Dominic leading, the Romanian of Tudor in second. And once again, congratulations to Steph. Commiserations to Heiko for not being able to hold on to that podium. If it hadn't been for speeding in the pit lane, Heiko would have been very much nailed on for that podium. Neil Bywater as well, the British driver in the Dams, managing 6th place in this race. That's a great effort from him. Definitely bucks the trend of what we've been seeing thus far this season. And one of only a few drivers to go penaltyless as well, so great drive from Neil here today. Shintaro also managing points in 8th, as well as New Darius in 9th. And Sebster, on the alternate strategy from the back, despite having to make 2 pit stops, has managed P10 in the end.
Yeah, Shintaro there taking the reverse grid pole position. Of course, now we'll come into the sprint race. It'll be a 9-lap sprint race. And the top 8 will be reversed. So first starts from 8th, second from 7th, and so on and so forth. But it is going to be overcast for those 9 laps. It's going to be very interesting to see if a bit of rain is going to fall or if it's going to keep dry like in the feature race. Of course, this will also affect a bit the temperature, which could mean something for the tyres. Of course, in the sprint race, you don't have to make a pit stop, so if it's dry, you most of the time see the drivers take the same set of tyres all the way through, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same here today.
Yeah, almost certainly they will do that. We even saw in that last race when the medium runners at the start pitted onto softs at the end, they were faster, but it wasn't the worlds apart. There wasn't the world of difference that we usually see in F2. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we won't see anyone running soft to soft. I think everyone will just be on those medium tyres, and we'll be able to check now whether that is indeed the case. Indeed it is. So everyone running medium tyres, no one hoping to make a pit stop in this race, whether anyone has to or not. That's a whole another matter, as it's going to be Shintaro on the reverse grid pole here, one of the newcomers to the league, in the newcomer team into F2 as well, the high-tech, leading the way, the car of Nikita Mazepin, this one in particular. Darius in second there in Marcus Armstrong's ART, and then we got Neil Bywater, Mo, Heiko, Steph Farrell, Tudor, and Dominic making the reverse grid. Darius, the newer, just unfortunate to miss out on that one in 9th, with Sebster 10th, Biolite 11th, Lasher 12th, and Dexter 13th.
Yeah, of course, Dexter there at the end of the feature race. Not quite sure what happened, but he did get disqualified. That could have possibly been a few too many penalties or something of the like. Or did he not do the required amount of pit stops?
It was the tyre. I think he didn't do enough laps on the soft set of tyres at the start of the race. You have to do, I think it's at least 3 laps on each compound of tyre. Or rather, you have to make your mandatory pit stop after lap 3 begins. So I think that's the way it works here. And that was what Dexter failed to do. It's a mistake that a lot of people have made in the past, and many people who aren't quite brushed all the way up on the rules of F2. They're a bit more complex than in F1. And maybe they don't realise exactly how that all works. So unfortunate there for Dexter, who will be starting at the very back as a result. And not only a disqualification from the last race, was disqualified from qualifying due to corner cutting, I'm pretty sure, was disqualified from the last race for being disqualified, has been disqualified from the formation lap here this time as well. So it's been a rough weekend thus far for Dexter.
Yeah, it seems like nothing will go right for him. Just down, starting in 13th and last. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can fight himself up into the top 8 and get some points, or if the weekend will turn from bad to worse for him. Nonetheless, Shintaro getting a great start to the sprint race here. Will be starting from pole position, with Darius right behind him, hoping to pounce and get up into that first place.
Even in AI form, those Premas are just rocketing through the field at the end of that formation lap there. But here we go then for the start of the sprint race here for the Italian Grand Prix. The lights go out, but they haven't gone out for the drivers yet until now, and we are underway for the second time here in Monza. Looks like a poor start for Darius, who will have to just tuck in behind Shintaro. Neil Bywater's got a good getaway off the line, though, so he might be challenging for second coming into turn 1. He does, looking around the outside of the ART, but can't find that particular move. Mo still in 4th. Tudor has picked up a 3-second time penalty already for just cutting in the opening chicane there. He's up 1 position, but seems like it's ill-gotten gains. Lasher's up 4 from where he started. So great job from him in the dams. And Dominic, after the glory of the feature race, is already down 4 positions here in the sprint race. It's not going so well for him this time around, and that's going to disappoint a great many of you in chat. Great to see you all supporting Dominic. But now, here he comes, looking to get past Biolite, the American driver in the MP Motorsport car, locks up into Lesmo 1, and as a result, Dominic will be able to slither up the inside for Lesmo 2. Darius losing it in front of them as well. Dominic with the inside line. It's fortunate enough for him as he's able to avoid that incident, but he has lost time to the rest of the pack up ahead.
Yeah, further ahead, we're seeing it's very close between the top runners. Of course, there's no duress just yet. That'll be activated on lap number 3, but I'm sure that we'll be seeing some of these drivers challenge into turn number 1 here. You're seeing Mo is close to Neil Bywater, And Darius there has fallen a bit back from Shintaro. Shintaro getting a great start, able to already pull a bit ahead of the field. So I think the most battling we're going to see at the top is going to be Mo, and he's very close to Neil Bywater. Now, as they're going to come into turn number 1, let's see, does Mo go for the move there? He's looking for it. He's down the inside there, and he goes for it. Down the inside, dives into turn number 1. He'll be on the outside there, and he goes a bit wide, getting pushed a bit. Now down to 5th place in battle with Tudor, I believe that is. Just Tudor there. He was trying to go around his outside, but was unable to do so. Now he just tucks right behind him there. Mo falling down to 5th, but Heiko was trying to go down the inside of Neil Bywater. Tudor down the inside of Mo into De La Roggia there on the outside for the second part. Gets the traction down and up into 5th he goes. And there comes Steph Farrell almost there behind on Mo as well. So Mo falling a couple of positions there after trying to go for 2nd place in turn number 1.
Yeah, the American thought he was going to be taking 3rd into turn 1 instead. He's having to settle down in 6th on the exit of the 2nd Lesmo. So not a great lap here from the Trident driver, who had a solid feature race, but hoping to go a little bit better than that this time around in the sprint race. He actually locked the rears into turn 1, and that is why he was so out of shape. Meanwhile, further up, it's now Heiko's turn to have a go at Neil Bywater. Up towards Parabolica we go. Neil Bywater braking later around the outside. He's been feisty today. He's had a lot of pace, but not enough to hold the Dutchman behind, and through goes Heiko in the car lane. Now Tudor behind as well, looking to make it 2 positions in 1 corner that Neil Bywater is going to lose. However, he's not done in his battle with Heiko quite yet. This could well be 3 wide into the opening chicane, and I believe it's going to be, which is never a good look in Italy. It almost always goes wrong. Doesn't quite go wrong there, as Tudor has to get out of it, so it goes wrong for him. But both Heiko and Neil Bywater have lived to fight another day. Sebster also getting involved in this fight now, as he's been able to dispatch Steph Farrell. So Sebster, who really couldn't show what he could do in the feature race, now has an opportunity here in the sprint. Heiko trying to get past Neil Bywater, still making a bit of a meal of it, though. Neil Bywater slow on the exit of the 2nd part of De La Roggia, but there's no opportunity now for Heiko until Ascari.
Yeah, of course, just sitting there behind it can be very frustrating, trying to find your way past through the Lesmos. Just seeing the car in front there, all further back there, Mo getting overtaken by 2 cars at the same time, whilst Heiko is going for the move for that final podium position. Round the outside he went and got the position just coming into Ascari. Further back there, Mo losing a couple of positions. Sebster there going up into 6th place, and Tudor in 5th there. Now, further behind, there's some yellow flags. That's for Lasher. Lasher retiring from the session. Not quite sure what has happened there, but it doesn't look like it'll affect the race further than just some yellow flags that are shown currently. Now, down the start-finish straight, the guys here will go. All of them, except for Heiko, will have the DRS there. Will Neil Bywater be able to go for the move? No. What about behind Tudor there? He was thinking about it for a second. He was hoping that, oh, Mo, gone round. Not quite sure what happened to him, but he's lost part of his front wing, and he was completely in the opposite direction of the track there in turn number 1, gone down to 9th place. Not quite sure what happened, but he has gotten front wing damage.
Yeah, so almost certainly he made contact with one of the runners up ahead. Bad news for Mo, and bad news throughout this race for him, actually. Turn 1 has not been his friend in this one. Tudor is looking a little bit impatient behind Neil Bywater. Almost sent a huge lunge into turn 1 last time around. But Neil is going to have DRS. He's going to have the slipstream of the cars ahead. Meanwhile, Shintaro is just checking out at the front. 3.8 seconds between himself and Darius right now in the ART in 2nd. So unless Heiko can get past Darius soon, Shintaro is looking at a debut win here in F2 Sprint League, and that would be a very, very good result indeed for the high-tech driver. Here comes Tudor, who has the opportunity to make it past Neil Bywater up into Parabolica, but Neil Bywater has been strong around the outside. He fought off Heiko earlier around here, and now he fights off Tudor as well. Slight contact made, but it's Tudor who's going to have to be unsettled by that and just settle in behind again for the Dams before making another move into turn 1. Dominic, all this battling is getting him a bit more in touch with them as well, but not enough yet, as Heiko actually manages to get past Darius into turn 1 as well. Here comes Tudor the Torpedo, not torpedoing Neil Bywater, who'll be very thankful for that indeed. He won't be thankful, though, for the fact that Tudor has stolen 4th place away from him.
Yeah, that fight at the top there for those podium positions, it is looking quite feisty currently. You can see Darius and Heiko just escaping away from the drivers behind there, almost outside of the second of Tudor there. As you can just see on that 1 second, 9/10 of a second mark. So Tudor, he'll have to watch out not to fall outside of that DRS, or he will have many angry drivers behind him wanting to get past very quickly to regain a place in that fight for the podium position. But it does look like he has slotted back into that DRS. There's Sebster now going for the move on Neil Bywater into Ascari there. It is so close, but they managed to go side by side for a bit. But Neil Bywater defends well and keeps the position now. Sebster still trying though. He wants to get past and now into Parabolica. He'll have the inside line, it looks like. Still side by side. Now into Parabolica they go and they touch a bit there. Sebster squeezed to the inside but manages to keep it on the track nicely and in a straight line, and up into 5th place he goes. But now Dominic behind wants to get a piece of that battle. He's gone past Neil Bywater. He's now down the inside. They're going to be 3 wide into turn number 1, or at least just for a sec. Dominic, or I believe actually, no, that is Dominic, down the inside, then turned to the outside, wasn't able to get it done right there. Sebster keeps 5th place from the others.
The Germans battle it out over 5th, and Neil Bywater is the casualty down into 7th. Tudor also dispatching Darius, who's starting to fall off in terms of pace right here and now, and might find himself falling prey to Sebster next time around unless he's very careful. Heiko still not really let me try that one again. Still not really chasing down Shentaru up at the front either. So it's getting better and better right now for the high-tech driver. We got some yellow flags for Biolite, who has lost it in De La Roja. He lost it there last race. He's lost it there again. Once again, we don't know if there was contact involved there or not. Dexter has had to come into the pits, and he's well off the back of the field. The 2 Tridents are battling over 9th and 10th at the moment, but that is no points available for those positions in this feature race. Here comes Dominic now, looking to take the outside for Parabolica, but he might not even need to, as Sebster has had a really poor run on the exit of Ascari. So Dominic making moves in the field now, getting up into 5th, wanting to keep chasing down Tudor up ahead, who he beat in the feature race and will want to beat him here again today.
Yeah, of course, those are very important championship points as this competition is coming towards its end, so you want to get every single point available there. Dominic having to go a bit defensive from Sebster there, and then also kinda getting in the mirrors of Darius up ahead. So maybe trying to put his mark down and say, even though I'm in a battle myself, I'm still here able to challenge. But he's right behind, and right behind he has Sebster. So it is very close between these drivers for at least 4th currently. And they'll have to watch out that Tudor doesn't escape away along with Heiko ahead. But Darius there, outside of the second of Tudor now. So he might be a sitting duck to Dominic in just a moment as they come on to the back DRS straight just before Ascari. Darius doesn't have the DRS of Tudor there. Dominic goes round the outside. Will Sebster go for the move as well? Yes, he goes down the inside there, almost attacking Dominic as well. So Darius losing 2 positions, going down into 6th place, losing it to Dominic and Sebster, down 1 straight.
Yeah, Dominic now looking to push on as well. 1.3 seconds behind his teammate, who I believe he has a penalty. What sort of penalty is it? It's a 3-second time penalty, of course, for Tudor. Picked that up on the opening lap of the race. So Dominic, without any penalties to his name, he's had a cleaner sprint race than he had in the feature. He's just set the fastest lap of the race when he came through there, a 1:30.4. He's got the bit between his teeth right now, and he's on track for his 2nd podium of the race weekend here in Italy. He'll want to go even better than that for sure, but time is running out. So he might just have to settle for third in this one, but he will currently, as things stand, take that away from Tudor on penalties. Steph and Neil Bywater are battling over 7th and 8th. That's over the last 2 point-scoring positions, and the 2 Tridents are fighting further back, but we don't need to worry about that because no points available for 9th nor 10th. And they are 11.5 seconds behind the rest of the field now. Sebster picking up a 3-second time penalty there. So that might be good news for Neil Bywater if he can stick within range of the German and the Romanian in the form of Darius up ahead.
Yeah, of course, Neil Bywater, he's doing well currently, not to go too far back, still stay close, but not engage in any battles, or at least too much battling with Steph Farrell right behind him. So he's looking like he'll score some good points in the sprint race here off of those penalties ahead, because it looks like he will both take Sebster and Darius, as looks like one of the Tridents behind has been in some contact and has spun round out of Lesmo number 2. But now looking further ahead, the drivers still within DRS range of each other, but no one really close enough to challenge. You can see Tudor there within a 6/10, within just 5.5, but it's a bit too far back to mount that challenge into turn number 1. But still keeping close to Heiko, ready to pounce at any mistakes he makes.
Heiko seems to really be struggling right now, and Dominic is only getting faster and faster. Tudor as well, but Dominic just went 0.5 of a second faster than his previous fastest lap time of the race to set yet another purple lap time. And with Tudor and Heiko looking like they're about to battle up ahead, Dominic could well be looking at P2, not just P3 in this one, as the Carlin is certainly struggling. The Dutchman are struggling to control that car right now. It's the Yuki Tsunoda Carlin that Heiko is in. But he has Tudor all over his gearbox now, and that's not going to help his consistency, that is for sure. The gap between himself and Shintaro is remaining just about the same, but both of them are losing time to the charging Premers here, as we now see Tudor thinking about a move into Ascari. Heiko goes preemptively defensive there. That's going to compromise him a little bit on the very exit of the chicane. Here we go. But it's not too bad, as he should be able to hold on at least until Parabolica. And then down towards turn 1, Tudor should be able to make that move stick this time around, as long as he has a clean run through Parabolica, because he is very, very close indeed up behind the rear wing of that Red Bull liveried Carlin. And Dominic is closer than ever as well.
Yes, he very much is. Now Tudor just to the left-hand side of the track there. Heiko going to the right. And then they're kind of switching around there. Tudor doing the same as he did in the feature race. They're not wanting to open the DRS, but Heiko, he went deep into turn number 1. Tudor was able to go for the move there. He's now down the inside of Parabolica, there you see, but he isn't able to get the move done. Now comes Dominic round the outside of Tudor into Del Roger. They'll go. Dominic will be down the inside, but there comes Tudor on Heiko. Will he be able to get the move done? No, he will not. Tudor sticks behind in P3. Dominic was trying to get P3 off Tudor, but was unable to do so. So they stay in the same positions, but it was very close for Heiko to lose it all. And as well with Tudor there, oh no, almost loses it out of Lesmo 2 there. And now he's under harsh attack from Dominic there from 4th. Dominic will be down the inside of Ascari there. Down he goes. He has to cut the corner there to just narrowly misses Heiko, narrowly misses Tudor on the entrance again. I think he outbroke himself and didn't want to slam into Heiko, and now he's under attack from Sebster right behind here. Sebster now trying to go around the outside of Parabolica, but it looks like he's unable to do so.
That was weird from Dominic there. I can't quite say what happened. I think you're right that he just was worried about ploughing into the cars ahead because he was too late on the brakes and decided just to completely abort the corner. If so, that's a noble thing for him to have done, and quick reactions as well. But it hasn't helped him out in the race, with the cars up ahead now looking to try and build a gap as we're on the final lap here. Sebster looking to challenge Dominic, but he can't do it. And now Dominic, he's been able to get back at that gap to Tudor and Heiko just a little bit here. So if Tudor is able to make a move on Heiko, Dominic could once again get involved with these guys. Meanwhile, out at the front, Shintaro just driving away from them right now. About to lap Mo in the Tridents after those two came to blows. And down in 11th and 12th, the Trident team not having a good sprint race here in Italy. Mo in particular will be very disappointed with how this one has gone. Tudor still couldn't make the move on Heiko quite yet. He'll have DRS all the way up the hill towards Ascari. First we drop down and then we go back up once again under the bridge before getting to the braking zone for Ascari, and Tudor is not close enough. And this might just be the last chance saloon for him to get past. He has that 3-second time penalty anyway, so it's not going to matter too much for him. Heiko struggles through Ascari there, so he might well find himself under pressure from Tudor into Parabolica of all places. And if this all goes wrong, Dominic might be there to feed off the scraps as well. Out at the front, Shintaro is going to win, but here come Heiko and Tudor around the final corner of the final lap of the sprint race, but Heiko holds on, and with that he will hold on to second in this race. Tudor comes across the line in third, but he loses out to his teammate once again, and Dominic takes the third slot on the podium. Tudor falling down to fourth. Sebster manages to hold on to fifth despite his penalties. Steph Perel in sixth. That's Neil Bywater in seventh for 2-point scoring finishes here in Italy on the bounce. So that's great news for him. And then Darius, old Darius, rounding off the points in eighth.
Yeah, Darius, they're just getting into the points there at the end with that 8th place. But that battle for those podium positions, going all the way from lap number 1, those 5 red lights, and then all the way to the checkered flag, all 11 laps. That's just what you love to see. And with all the drivers just battling it out constantly on track, not afraid to go for the move here and there. And ultimately, Heiko won out in that battle.
Indeed, he should stay ahead of Dominic, because that was all, or instead ahead of Tudor, sorry, because that was all that was preventing Dominic from having a go at him. He needed the sort of safe zone that was Tudor between himself and the charging Dominic behind, who I believe probably got the fastest lap of the race. No, it was actually stolen away by Darius, but Tudor does have the fastest lap of everyone who finished in the points, so I'm not sure if he gets those points or not when that is how things are. But Darius pitted for softs at the end and still only managed to go 0.2 of a second faster than Dominic. So he was just flying here in Monza. A really good performance, a standout performance from Dominic, their driver of the day. I think I'd agree with that, especially after the first lap when he was down 4 positions, down in 12th on the opening lap of the race. To battle back and get a podium is very impressive indeed. But we shouldn't take anything away from Shintaro either, who is a newcomer to the league and absolutely dominated the sprint race there. Had a very rough time indeed in the feature, but taking the win in the sprint race will more than make up for that.
Yeah, he drove a very good race there, just able to get a nice start, able to stay ahead, and then was just able to drive off into the sunset, winning with about 5 seconds. But now let's have a look at who won in total this weekend. And it is Dominic in first place with 37 points. Then Tudor in second place with 7 less, with 30 points. Then Heiko took third place there with 24. Stefrel took fourth in that Charouz with 19. Actually tying with Chantal. After that win in the sprint race. Then Mo in 6th with 10 points, tying with Neil Bywater. Then Sebster in 8th, Darius in 9th, old Darius in 9th, and new Darius in 10th place with 2 points, final driver to score points. And then Biolight, Dexter and Lasher, none of those able to score any points this weekend.
Indeed not. So congratulations to those who were able to get their points, and congratulations to everyone who had a particularly good weekend. I think Dominic, Neil Bywater both really had great times out there. Tudor has lost the win streak in terms of sprint races now, and I don't think he'll be too happy with not managing to win either of the races when Flash wasn't present. I think he'll feel that this is a bit of an opportunity missed for him, as he is, I think, the only one who can still take it to Flash in the championship. I'm not sure if it's even mathematically possible anymore or not. He's almost 100 points behind, so I don't think it's very likely, that much is for sure. But he definitely needed to take maximum points today if he was to have any hope whatsoever, and he didn't quite manage to do that.
Yeah, they all drove a very good race, and in the end, Dominic there just pulling out the points in the end with 37 and winning this weekend. I believe this is the final race before our it is the final race before our Christmas break. As you can see on screen, we will be back on the 9th of January, Saturday the 9th of January, with the Russian Grand Prix at Sochi. These drivers always able to give us a great showing of racing, no matter what track we're at, and I'm sure that we'll be seeing just the same at Sochi. But until then, have a very Merry Christmas and a very good New Year, and stay safe out there. Follow the COVID guidelines wherever you live, and we hope you stay safe, and we hope you get into the new year very well. But until then, have a good one and goodbye.